I use Twitter.
I use Twitter.
I use Twitter.
So do you use Twitter?
I do use Twitter.
This is an immediate, quotation, 150 characters that is going out to a broad array of people.
Twitter is now like the new social network. At first it was MySpace, Facebook, and now it's Twitter.
I think Twitter is definitely powerful. You can look at just one example, the protest in Egypt about a month or two ago, and how people was getting the word out what was happening through Twitter. I mean, it was so powerful that the government actually tried to shut the internet down because people was using social networking to get the information out and get news out.
I think it can be powerful if used constructively. You are, just with any other, I guess, social networking site, you have access to reaching a large group of people. So in that way, it can be powerful. But for the most part, from what I've witnessed, it's just, I guess, a lot of celebrity gossip and trending topics about silly things. And I mean, it really hasn't had that much of an impact on my life personally, but I guess for music artists, politicians, anybody that wants to spread an idea to a wide group of people, it can definitely.
Yes, I think it's powerful because it uses the concept of continuously updating your status, and you can continue to find updates from different companies like news about weather, about what's going on, and important things that's going on in the world.
Twitter could be a useful addendum into the classroom setting by allowing professors who need to make quick changes to assignments. They can immediately post, and it can go out to all their students simultaneously. So I mean, it does have that useful attribute, but I think that it will just have to be sort of like an actual addendum into like the Blackboard component.
During the spring of 2010, I taught a course in mass communication that was called Advertising, Sales, and Marketing. And it seemed to me ridiculous in this time to not have a segment on social media, which is how I ended up dealing with Twitter in the classroom. I do think it's powerful because it has the ability, kind of like Facebook in some respects though, to make people respond almost immediately to a variety of things. We even saw that recently with the way people tweeted when Osama bin Laden, was killed, and how we had these spontaneous, supposedly spontaneous, gatherings of people, particularly young people, right after that president spoke. So I think part of the phenomenon was related to Twitter.
So I taught a class in the spring of 2011 in which I asked my students to do a Twitter project, and we started that project in March of 2011. And I was fairly surprised that a great deal of my students were already using Twitter. I would say that certainly at least half of them already had a Twitter account. In some of my classes, the percentage was much higher. How much they were using it really varied. I had students who would tweet, I can't even tell you how many times a day, to dozens, more than dozens of times a day, and some who were very new to it. And almost everyone reported the same thing, that initially with Twitter, they had a reaction against it, that it was hard to use, that it was hard to figure out. But by the end of the semester, the grand majority of my students were, as they said, addicted. In class, they came up to me one day, they said, Dr. Warmer, you got us addicted. I only started this Twitter account 1 month ago, and it's my 1,000th tweet. So I think that they enjoyed the assignment, and that was a real accomplishment to me. I started using Twitter when I began teaching Twitter. So I wasn't using Twitter prior to that. And it's been a struggle for me to want to use it. I don't traditionally like to represent myself that way. I've been reading articles in the scholarly way on it, and one article that stood out to me, I'm so totally digitally close to you, ended by saying that what Twitter and other social networks do is that they give you an opportunity to really know yourself, to reflect on yourself. And it's sort of hard for me to reflect on myself and to think about something that I want to push out to the world daily or even weekly. But I do have a Twitter account, and I've been following a lot of people. And by the end of the semester, I started thinking that maybe I ought to start tweeting. and just sort of see what happened.
A big surprise to me is the large number of African Americans who are using it. I also was not aware of the, most people on Twitter are relatively affluent, college educated. It is, as one of my quotes in the paper talks about, these are not the same people that use Facebook, MySpace, so forth, Flickr now. So I was really surprised at that, and I'm not sure what the phenomena is. And my colleague, Dr. Weimer, is looking at identity also, but that's going to branch out in a different direction. I don't tweet as much as I used to. I do find it interesting for use in the classroom. I just don't really like personally putting my own information out there, but I really do like following other people.
I do use Twitter. I probably use it at least like 10 times a day, maybe more. And I just use it to basically be nosy because everybody wants to put their business out there, so if they want to do it, I want to know.